understand time, consider this. When I first traveled to South America, I left my country on 18th April 2009. And 4 continents, 4 countries, 4 flights, and 32 hours later, I reached Venezuela on 18th April 2009. From Asia, India, to Europe, Belgium, to North America, Canada, to South America, Venezuela, I flew 32 hours, moving from the east to the west of this planet, and yet reached there the same day I took off. How is this possible? Of course, it is no rocket science to understand what I am talking about. When I travel from the east to the west here on Earth, I get a day younger. But when I travel from the west to the east, I get 2 days older. Now, can you extrapolate this idea to the vast space surrounding our planet, out into the farthest galaxies in the universe? Imagine someone traveling into outer space from planet to planet and far beyond. It may be that he spends only 10 minutes in his rocket, but here on Earth, 10 years have passed by, or vice versa. Can you fathom this? Now give him 10 hours or 10 days, and when he returns, it may be difficult for him to find anyone alive he knew when he had left here on Earth. It all depends on the distance, speed, and time of travel. This example may seem far-fetched, but it is science. Today we do not have that kind of technology to send human bodies far into outer space. But that doesn't mean we can't in the future. And notice that I said human bodies, not human beings. Because human beings already do this kind of time travel at an astral level on a regular basis in their so-called out-of-body experiences and dream states, consciously or unconsciously. When I speak to someone in the East, I am essentially talking with the future. Whereas when I speak to someone in the West, I am talking with the past. Although both are talking at the same instant of now. Literally, it is each of our reality. If time were linear, then 2 people could not experience different timelines parallelly. Rather, they would experience it sequentially. Hence, you may now understand that time is nothing but a mental construct by human beings in an attempt to understand our movement through space. It is just a unit of measurement to calculate how fast we can move from one place to another. Increase or reduce the speed and you alter time. So time as we know it does not really exist. But then you may say, time is a very real experience. I can remember yesterday, but I can't see tomorrow. And I would say it is only as real as someone sitting in America experiencing the past, and at that very instant, someone sitting in Asia experiences the future simultaneously. When you increase the distance between you and any object, it recedes further into the past. You can remember your childhood, which happened in your distant past. However, you can bring up the memories anytime and even alter the meaning of certain experiences in the past to alter your present experience of reality. What do I mean by that? Let's say you've had some traumatic experiences in the past. Let's say you were sexually abused by your grandfather as a child. At the time, you were young and didn't know how to deal with that experience. Hence, you developed certain coping mechanisms, like you stayed awake all night, constantly at vigil, so he wouldn't be able to sneak into your bed. And over time, you developed insomnia. Or perhaps you dissociated into multiple personalities in order to escape the pain of that experience. That is, your consciousness fragmented. But now that you are grown up, that threat is not even there anymore. You are far away from your grandfather, or perhaps he is dead. Still, you may continue to have insomnia, unable to sleep at nights. Your subconscious mind has stored the memory of that past trauma, and every time you try to sleep, you feel unsettled and restless as you are being held hostage to your past. But you are not consciously aware of it. This is because our subconscious minds cannot distinguish between the past, present, or future. It holds every memory, no matter how subtle or unconscious, and alerts your body into action in order to keep you safe, although that event in the past is non-existent in your current reality. So you continue to live a miserable life, not knowing why, even taking to sleeping pills to sleep. It is one possible way to move through life in this timeline. Now let's say you decide to intervene and change the course of your movement through life. You go back into the past, bring up those unhealed memories, internalize that threat is no more in your present life and that you are now safe. So you release the trauma from your subconscious mind and reprogram it consciously. That changes your present reality, and now you are able to sleep better without pills as the insomnia magically disappears. Thus, you change the entire mosaic of possibility of your movement through life in this timeline, thereby altering your future. It is another possibility, a parallel reality where you jumped from your last reality. Both possibilities exist simultaneously, but you can only experience one possibility at a time. Pun intended. Often in our dream states, we jump to different timelines and possibilities of our own lives and other parallel lives we are living simultaneously, as past, present, and future exist parallelly. That is why in a dream, the sequence makes perfect sense, whereas when you wake up, that reality is gone and you are back into your present reality. If you never woke up from a dream, would you know the difference? Would you know which reality you are really living in the present? Similarly, your other selves in other dimensions may dream of your current lifetime that you are aware of living now. This is how you communicate with your own past and future selves that exist simultaneously, and even at times you can receive guidance from them. Ever had a hunch or intuition? Who do you think is sending you that feeling? It may be a choice you are about to make that your future self has already walked in another possibility and warns you with a subtle feeling that says, "Hey, this was no fun. Don't do it." If you ignore the intuition, you may re-encounter the same fate. If you heed to it, it may be a life-saving choice. Think of time as a book. All the pages in the book exist at the same time, but you read it in a sequence, from page 1 to page 100, chronologically, in order to understand the story in the book and make sense of your life. However, at any point, you could turn to read page 100, then come back to page 50. People often do this in dream states. That's how sometimes they can see a future event, have a precognitive dream. Then when they actually go through that event in the present, they may experience a déjà vu. The further you remove something from your present experience, the further it recedes into the past. Think of all the stars in the sky. The light from a star may take several thousand light years to reach your eyes. And by the time you are actually looking at it, perhaps that star is already dead. But its light still fills the sky, and you look at what is thousands of light years old right now. Can you imagine the implications of this? Perhaps what you are looking at is your past. If you could find a way to travel all the light years into that galaxy, you may even find a glimpse of yourself living that reality. Ha ha ha! Does it make sense? Well, we are all multidimensional beings living in multitudinous realities simultaneously. It is impossible to see the present because everything that you see is through the filters of your own perception that takes time for your brain to process and send signals to your eyes for you to recognize what it is that you are actually seeing. Let's say the light from any object reaches your eyes. Your brain interprets what it is, then sends the signal to your eyes, and then you understand what you are looking at is a chair. It takes time for that to happen while all along the object is changing. The electrons in it are vibrating, moving as the present is proceeding into something else and preceding your reality. When you enjoy something, it seems like time is moving very fast. When you are having a bad moment, it feels like time is moving very slow. And if you too can slow down, you may have one of those life-defining experiences called timelessness. That is what many yogis and gurus tell you about. When they slow down their movement through life, they perceive time as still, not something moving from birth to death. They have an experience of timelessness, agelessness. Watch my video, Age is a Belief System. When people have near-death experiences, for example, they often perceive multiple realities at the same time since they are not in the physical body, hence outside of the three-dimensional reality. And so, space is nothing but time physicalized. If there was no space, there would be no time, no physical dimension, because time is measured by the rate of movement of an object from one point to another through space. If the object moves faster, time reduces. If the object moves slower, time increases. As you know, our universe is expanding, and so even calculations of cosmic events are never 100% accurate. Because let's say something that happened billions of years ago was following a different timeline than today. Because today it takes longer for the Earth to complete one revolution around the Sun than it did a billion years ago. Space and objects are experiences of three-dimensional planes. This 3D reality is a projection, however, of higher dimensions. Just the way when you take an object and cast its shadow on a plane surface by bringing it in front of light, the shadow you see is two-dimensional. So basically, the shadow is a 2D projection of the 3D object. Similarly, our 3D physical plane is also a projection of an 8D reality, for instance. We cannot see those higher dimensions with our naked eyes because our 3D eyes are not equipped to see beyond the physical. However, in our dream states, we continually astral travel to these other dimensions and can also access them through hypnosis, meditation, visualization, imagination, intuition, etc. Einstein has proven that any object, when given the vibration of the square of the speed of light, it becomes energy, thus invisible to the naked eye. In his famous theory of relativity, E is equal to mc square. But just because the object has become energy, that doesn't mean it is not there anymore. If you find a way to reduce its vibration again, you will get back the object or transform it to something else. This is alchemy. We are all made up of the same stuff. The stars and you are one. Ice, when heated, becomes water. Heat further and it becomes steam. Can you see steam? Perhaps you can see traces of its vapor. But when the vapor dissipates in the room, what is the position of the vapor? Where is it exactly? Can you see it? No, because it has become non-localized and you cannot pinpoint its position in space anymore. But if you find a way to condense the vapor again, that is, reduce its vibration, you will get back water, and condensing further, you can get ice again, which then has a position in space, thus becoming localized again. The same happens at birth and death. Our consciousness, essence, what some people call spirit or soul, condenses its vibration to enter physical life. And at death, the opposite happens. When the soul agenda is complete, the consciousness increases its vibration to leave the physical reality and move on to other dimensions for further journeys ahead. When we sleep, it is not the body that needs rest, but it is the spirit that needs a break from this dense 3D reality as it goes on its own adventures. Once the adventures are done, it comes back feeling rejuvenated, and we say, we've had a good sleep. If your eyes are sensitive to energy, you may be able to see beyond the 3D, where things will usually appear as some form of light. This is how many people who are clairvoyant can see auras or even spirits from other dimensions that normal people can't see. However, everyone can train their vision to see auras and spirits. Children see them often. That is why babies laugh so much in their sleep. And get this, when we talk about enlightenment, it is the same thing essentially. We are all light beings incarnated into this three-dimensional plane for a physical experience of life which does not happen in higher dimensions. And so, the physical plane is full of contrasts that may cause pain and suffering. Hence, many people, when they talk about enlightenment, they are essentially talking about the absolute realm where there is no pain or suffering because there are no contrasts, no physical reality. When we know this, we can partake in this thing called life more fully rather than thinking life is a curse or sin or other nonsense like that which many spiritual gurus proclaim. If you did not want a physical experience, you would not come here on earth. You would stay on the other side. Life is a choice. Death is a choice. No one can stop you from living the life you've chosen to live here on earth. But it probably isn't a great idea to do that because you of your own accord came here for a certain experience and you cannot escape yourself ever, can you? Wherever you go, you will meet your own creations. There is no vacuum in the universe. There are no voids. Everywhere you will find your own creations, your imaginations, and perceptions of realities. Is this mind-boggling? Well, it is meant to be. This contrast in the physical plane paves a way for us to experience ourselves, which some may call self-actualization. Are you understanding this? The no thing defines the everything. Because there is darkness, we can perceive light. Because short exists, we know tall. Because fat exists, we know thin. One defines the other, and the other defines the one. Hot defines cold, and vice versa. These are all split parts of ourselves, so we can come to know ourselves from different angles and perspectives, then integrate these fractured aspects of our consciousness to be whole again. Wholeness is seeing that we are all essentially one spirit, one energy that vibrates at different frequencies, thus creating myriad forms of reality, plethora objects, sensations, feelings, beings, emotions, and experiences. Any one form is not necessarily better than another because it defines the other. When you can see everything this way, then you can experience real freedom. You will never judge anybody or any aspect of life because you will know it is a part of the same creation that you are. And it being so different from you actually defines you in ways you may not even understand. What you judge will judge you. What you condemn will condemn you. Because it is just another split of the same consciousness that you are, that creates more variety and contrasts for you, so you would have a real adventure of life. Because you know what? A smooth ride is boring. That's why we have Disney worlds with roller coaster rides. Real world is not much different from that. But sometimes we are so caught up in these contrasts that we fail to fathom the bigger picture. None of this is real. It is all an illusion. What is it that you are making real that is causing you pain? Seeing it this way can reduce suffering, yet the contrasts give us an exemplary contextual field to experience life in all its innumerable colors, hues, tones, and shades of grey. So, while you are playing this game called life, do take some time today to mull this over and you will perceive an extraordinary reality. And tonight, when you look upon the sky, contemplate the possibility that you are looking at your past. Namaste.